Hey Metafam, Weasel here. Welcome to the channel. Today we got a very special guest today. We got Jeff from Purple Elf Productions. Look at that. Even got the Metazoo mug.
The magic is real.
Ooh, damn. I have to
This is
follow.
from this is from Annie, aka Jason. I know you're out there, Annie. Shout out to you. Thank you for very much for buying me this mug.
Is that a custom mug or is that just available on the marketplace?
This is available on the marketplace. You know, when I first got into Metazoo, one of the very first things I did is I went mad on the marketplace.
Really?
Went crazy on it. I went crazy on it. I own like every t-shirt.
But when did you get into Metazoo, by the way? I'm just trying to grasp
Yeah.
what was on the, I guess, marketplace when you joined in. I think maybe we joined in around the same time.
It's very possible. It's very possible. I don't know if I'm a second or a third wave Metazooer, but like it was introduced to me before Nightfall came out, kind of like,
Okay.
you know
So
what
like,
it was?
hmm,
It was like August actually when it was introduced to me. I went to a game castle and I walked in and I bought a Magic the Gathering booster box of something.
yeah.
And there was an employee who literally turned around behind the counter and grabbed a couple products and set them down in front of me. And I've never had somebody at a LGS do this to me before, but it was like a hard sell, which I've never really seen at LGS. They literally set them in front of me and they said, "This is a new game called Metazoo. Would you like to buy this as well or instead?" And I honestly thought I was being scammed when I first saw it.
What is this?
Like, I don't like hard sells, you know?
I like what I'm comfortable with.
That's right.
No, no, definitely, man. Yeah, so it's the same time. Yeah, I got in August of last year as well. So almost a year now. Damn.
Yeah, it was been a year for you. Now, I didn't actually get in until a couple months after that. Now, how did you first hear about it?
Um, I heard it about it. I follow Rudy Alpha Investment, and I saw the interviews with Rudy and Mike, and it was just like, I'm like, this thing is pretty. It's going places. I feel, and I don't know. I haven't had that feeling since uh when Facebook first came out. That's
Yeah.
like early 2000, right? I'm like, Facebook, this thing is going to go somewhere, but I'm too young and I have no capital to my name to invest in anything. So yeah, no, I got the same feeling with MetaZoo too. And I'm like, well, I'm better place in life now. And yeah, so I just like, I'll get into this. I just actually bought a first edition booster box. I was going to get the Kickstarter at the time, but I'm like, $1,000 or $150. I'm like, I'll try it at 150, and then I kind of regret it now, right? Like, like we all are with decisions sometimes.
Oh my goodness. By the time I did buy a CN1 box and I bought it at the peak, the exact peak, because I
Oh,
actually
really?
started buying Metazoo at Nightfall.
Oh, that's
Is
right.
when I was like, it's time for me to get in. But luckily, I gotta say though, love to my store Game Castle. They committed to only selling it at MSRP, even when I was like, Nightfall was like online on eBay for like 250.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
my
yeah, I
Game
remember.
Castle was selling it for 140 and it was still out there on the shelf. I could stand there and look at it and there was like six boxes of it. Like I could have gone Rudy on it and bought all six and eBayed them all, but I would like every time I go to the store, I'm like, I gotta buy one. I'd
Yeah.
buy one and then I'd show up a week later to play Magic again. I'm like, they're still there. Give me one. You know?
Nice. So you
And then
slowly got the stock. Nice.
well, finally I showed up and they were all gone. They're like, all right, somebody took them.
Yeah, it hit the peak, you know. Then it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah. Yeah, because when I purchased it, I actually had to buy it on the secondary market. So I bought it on eBay, and then I bought it from the person for like 150. And then it's like a week later, it just skyrocketed. I'm just like, I
Yeah.
feel kind of bad for that person. I'm like, if you held on it for like 3 days, it would have just gone up, man. Yeah.
I know Metazoo's been through such a wild ride like that. It's been so unique in that sense.
Yeah, it's literally a pretty a roller coaster, I'd say. And then like as everything else, it's like recession now, right? So roller
Mhm.
coaster has gone into family mode pretty much. No wild turns and upside downs.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. Family mode. I like that.
Yeah. So you know what? I am kind of curious about something, man. Like
Yeah.
Purple Elf Productions.
Yeah.
I'm just like purple elf. Like I see the symbol. Is it kind of like the Eye of Ra or something like that? Something.
It's I can tell you the exact story. It definitely has a meaning. It's not just made up, but I have to commonly tell people I'm not the purple elf because people have started calling me purple elf in the
Oh,
MetaZoo community. Like I'll see videos and people are like, the purple elf said this or whatever. And it's funny because what happened was, I've got a little bit of wanderlust in my life. I worked in corporate America for a long time. And then my wife and I kind of switched spots, and I started a home business, and she went into corporate America. She got her degree and did that. And so since then, I've kind of been like this, taking care of the home, but also like a weird artist person.
Nice.
And I've like made paintings and stuff that I sell online and stuff like that. But also I've started doing like content, right? And I started making a lot of podcasts, actually, not YouTube videos. This is all new to me. I started making podcasts because I've always been an enormous podcast fan, because I got into them way back when fantasy football, the only way you could hear about good information was on podcasts, which was a long time ago. And anyway, so me and my friend started a podcast network, which I kind of started the LLC for. Okay. And I called it Purple Elf Productions because my best friend, who I kind of convinced to do these shows with me, loves the color purple because Prince is his favorite thing in the world. And he loves purple because he loves Prince. We're both from Minnesota.
Purple rain.
Yep. And the elf is, if you've ever played Gauntlet from back in the 80s, it's green elf is about to die. And he used to do this thing when we would always play games together. Whenever our character was about to die in EverQuest or whatever, he'd go, green elf is about to die. And so it always like, it made me laugh so much every time he did it, every time he said that the green elf was about to die. Yeah. And so I've always, I don't know, I just made him the purple elf.
The two.
Yeah, we mashed the two together, and it sounded good. Pep, Purple Elf Productions. It just sounded good.
That's a great story, man. And I have to say, kind of predates me a little bit. I was around in the 1980s, but I was very, very, very young, possibly in like the Metazoo egg plushie form.
Can I ask you a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
I want to know about, I really like watching your show. And one of the reasons I like watching your show is because you seem like a rudder, somebody who's able to keep a very straight head. And it sounds like you also have your career in that space a little bit with like negotiations, I think you mentioned. And I'm just wondering, have you always been that type of person? And why do you find it's important to be a mediator in this world? Because, and I'm sorry to spring this on you. I asked you to moderate this and be like, please keep me on rails because I'm such a random person sometimes. But I appreciate the fact that you seem like a very even keeled person who doesn't get off kilter too much. And I'm wondering how you're able to keep that balance in your life.
No, of course. No, it's perfectly fine, man. I keep going on tangents, to be honest, and I'm glad we're kind of going on different tangents. Okay. I don't like sticking to the script, to be honest. Okay. Yeah. So, you know what? It's kind of funny. I can kind of say I'm kind of like, George from Metazoo be with you, right?
Yes.
So I
love that show. I love that show.
It's so good. Him and Louie. Yeah. And I think there was a guy, but then he left. I can't forget his name now.
Yeah, he was the other guy.
The other guy. Sorry, other guy. Yeah, so I'm kind of in the same position as George. So I'm trained as a lawyer, but I don't have my certification. So it's just pretty much I'm in the legal field, but I don't work as a lawyer type of thing. So when I was in the US, I actually did some negotiating with, not going too much into it, but like low income with the IRS type of situation. So that's where I started to really enjoy doing like putting things in moderation, especially in this day and age. Everyone's either like you're on this side or you're on that side, right? And I'm just like, I think there's a common ground that everyone can see, but no one really wants to see it sometimes. And like people, like I go on Reddit a lot, and people say that the timeline changed after, Harambe, the ape in the zoo. After, to say that everything went to a bad timeline after Harambe passed away, type of thing. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I guess that's like a paradox theory type of thing. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate about you. I appreciate you recognizing the fact that we're in a time where it's important to find common ground. That's Vinny Pooperino.
Yep, I've seen it.
In case anybody hasn't seen Vinny Pooperino before.
Oh man, how many cats do you have? Sorry, tangent again. But how many cats do you have? 3.
We had 2, and recently, I've always said we can have 7. My wife has disagreed with me vehemently, and recently she said we can have our 3rd. So she opened the door, and we now have a kitten that's around here somewhere.
Nice. Naturally, have to live with that decision now.
I have to take care of the kitty litter. I'm in charge of the house, so that's the worst part about a cat.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
friends with cats. I think the closet was where the kitty litter went.
that's
Usually.
basically ours. Yeah, ours is actually right there. It's the room all that's always right in the background of the recording.
Well, I'm very sorry you had to sit in that room right now. Then you cited at least. Yeah, but yeah, just going a little bit forward with it. So I'm in Canada now. I actually grew up in Canada, so it's my home country. And yeah, so without getting into like what company I work for and stuff, like I'm pretty much like a senior fraud fraud analyst type of position. So
Really?
yeah, so I still get to use my legal background, but yeah, it's pretty fun. And there's a lot of corporate stuff and it deals a lot with real estate transactions.
Oh,
So
that's
that's why.
super interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, I had my when everyone was kind of like downplaying Metazoo a little bit, like I have like a spidey sense, kind of I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is not a rug pull, or at least I would let this one go.
Right, because you have experience with it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot, of course, everything has red flags, right? And then
Right.
you have to do like calculated risks and everything. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, then you just do the checks and balances, just balancing. Like that's another thing, right? You just balance stuff.
Well,
And
I'm very much a probabilistic thinker. You know, you've even mentioned my degree in
that's
statistics.
yeah,
So I don't believe in black and white thinking. I believe that, you know, if I think somebody might be doing a rug pull, I don't think it 100%. To me, it's always like, you know, there's like a 25% chance or whatever. And, you know, and so like,
yeah,
I think that's really interesting, especially to hear your perspective of somebody who's studied stuff like this. Because
yeah.
honestly,
Which
I don't think it is either.
I guess
Now that you mentioned it, I
I,
still don't know what I think about NFTs though. I'm still unsure about NFTs, but I mean Metazoo in general, don't think it's a rug pull.
Metazoo in general,
Probabilistically.
amazing. I have to say, to keep this family friendly, I will have to say I can't speak what I think about NFTs either. So we'll leave it at that. Oh man.
Oh, it's funny.
I guess that kind of goes into I guess did you want to know a little bit more about me, or I guess we can kind of segue into
No, I mean, yes, I no, not segue, because yes, I do want to know more about you.
oh
Now
cool,
I'm
yeah.
curious. Now I'm curious, like, what is it like? Have you been in a situation? Tell me about. You obviously can't get into details, so I'm not worried about details. I'm worried more about the emotionality of what it's like and what kind of mode you turn into. If you've seen a situation explode
Yeah,
and start to get out of control, imagine two people fighting in the middle of a street.
yes.
Maybe you've had this similar situation like that, but in a business setting. What kicks in for you, and what do you try to do at that point?
If I see two people fighting, to be honest, I think I may just like bystander effect. It's best not to get involved, to be honest, if they're
Really?
physically fighting. But if they're yelling, to be honest, I think then maybe I could step in. I'll be like, hey, calm down. Like you just have to de-escalate. That's the
Yeah.
first thing, right? You can just always. And the other thing is kind of misdirect. So you kind of like try to find something that's not related to maybe what they're yelling or fighting about type of
Huh.
situation. So you always want to, because most conflict comes from just it's emotional, right?
Yeah.
From either side. And then that's the same thing what goes on for everywhere. And you just kind of try to talk it down and be like, hey, so what's wrong? What's your your point of view, I guess. But that's the thing, when people are yelling, they're not in that state, right? They might just punch me in the face, to be honest. So it's like,
Right. People are
yeah,
looking for a reaction when they're yelling, but they're not listening.
exactly. And then that's why I think like society's become a little bit, it's just like people yelling over each other, like people
Right.
kind of like just in their own silos, kind of just like in their echo chambers, listening to just what you want to listen to. There's
And I thought the internet was going to be so good.
oh, I
You mentioned I'm a little older than you. Like when the internet was coming around, my parents were like, "Oh, this thing's not going to be good," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is. Where it's going to connect all of us. What are you kidding? I'm going to be able to learn MIT stuff. My kid's going to be able to learn MIT stuff for free. What do you mean it's not good?" And then next thing you know, people are scamming each other on the internet, and we got deep fakes coming around. And I'm like, I didn't foresee all this stuff, you know?
obviously no one really took Spider-Man seriously. With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
Oh. Great power came a lot of this different things.
Yeah, yeah, we're learning. I think the human race is trying to adjust very quickly to what we're harnessing right now, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Like social media itself, I don't know. I think it was good in the beginning to connect people, and
Yeah,
now it's just kind of going pretty crazy direction. And it's kind of like there's like studies saying that it's lowering people's like attention spans and all that stuff. And I think that
sure.
could also be why people are so easily don't want to say like manipulated or even convinced of a certain side so quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's just kind of like the TikTok culture, right?
I haven't gotten into TikTok yet, but I am noticing though in your background, I see a CN and I see a wilderness. What is the card? Is that a card next to the wilderness box? Is that a ding bell? Is that a lightning in a bottle? What is that?
No, that's just a Cryptid Nation blister. So it's a Mothman.
Oh, that's the blister. Okay, I can't
Yeah,
really
it's
see
the
it from
blister.
here.
Yeah, no, I try to diversify what I have up there. Except for
Nice.
that. That's like an Adventure Time Munchkin game. Like a board game. I don't know why it's there. It's just
I really like the wilderness box still. Its shininess still amuses me. I love it.
It is. And I'm not too sure if UFO is similar shiny or not, or is it just like a flat sheen? I can't really tell from the pictures, to be honest.
I don't know.
Oh,
no.
But yeah, so I guess the long answer is just try to de-escalate. If it doesn't work, then just kind of stand on the sideline. Hopefully it works out.
Were you did you grow up having in situations where you ever had to de-escalate with like siblings or anything like that?
Yes, but it never ended in my favor. So I think that's why I kind of wanted to get into the field a bit more. I think that's the thing, because I'm like, I don't like seeing people in that situation.
Oh, sure.
I kind of had that experience. So
yeah,
kind of want to like, I guess help some people out in that sense. The low income thing it's a little bit near and dear to my heart. I didn't really grow up in like impoverished family or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I feel like it's going to sound kind of really cliche, but if you do have a little bit of like a head start in life, like you should at least help some of the others as well, type of thing. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Man. Yeah. So hopefully it helps out in this Metazoo space as well, because it sure is a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, it is. It's been really emotional for me, because like getting into it last during Nightfall, which was like Halloween. Like when I got into it hard, right? Like the collecting, like by the time Christmas hit, I was like on Whatnot smashing the buy button. And I bought an NFT by that point. And I was full Metazoo. And like when I get into something, right? I'm not that type of person,
Yeah.
And when Metazoo caught my attention, it had a lot of my attention. And then just 2 months after that, I'm like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, because I'd only done podcasts up to that point. I'm like, I want to try this YouTube thing. And I made myself this ridiculous goal of making 365 videos in a year, which I still very well might be able to do, because
Did the MetaMan challenge help?
I'm ahead of the pace. Let's say that I'm ahead of my goal right now. If you cool. Time it all out. and just I've been spending so much time making all these videos and focusing my energy on it that I feel like even most of the time I'm walking around right now these days, I think about Metazoo. Are you the same way at all? Do you ever find yourself just going about your day-to-day business, but you're just thinking about Metazoo?
Hopefully that answers the question.
It's done that to a lot of us, right? It's just like captured us.
It really has. Sometimes I wear this shirt outside and I kind of really hope that someone will walk over and be like, hey, you like Metazoo? I like Metazoo. Yeah, man. It's it really has. It's just something in the back of your mind all the time. Like, I don't know if it's like the idea of Metazoo, or it's just there's just like some kind of like I don't know, allure to it that kind of just lures you in and makes you keep thinking about it. And I'm not talking about like FOMO of items and certain thing like that.
Right.
It just kind of captures your brain. I think it could be the cryptid part. Like we all grew up with different type of cryptids, no matter which nationality, where you're from, type of thing. It's just always been part of our lives. And then when you think about anything, you see like a Bigfoot documentary, you think Metazoo. I see it on there's like Adult Swim type of cartoons, and they have like Mothman. I'm like, I know Mothman because of Metazoo. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think I think you got it there with the cryptids. I think that probably is the core conceived. And I think that they really hit lightning in a bottle with the artists too. And just the design of the cards, just the way the cards look.
Yeah.
I just think that they're one of the types of TCGs out there. And I don't think there's many where you can just stare at the cards and enjoy yourself.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say, so lightning in a bottle, I know that's a Metazoo card, but is that an actual saying as well?
Absolutely. Lightning in a bottle. Yeah. Lightning in a bottle is when you run across something special. It's
Oh, okay.
lightning in a bottle would be like if if you're like a songwriter and you start creating a tune and you just created, "Hey Jude, don't make it bad." That would be lightning in a bottle. Like you just got it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so it's
Okay.
it's special things that we run across in this world. That's lightning in a bottle.
For sure. Okay, I'll have to use that analogy a lot more now.
I got a couple Midwest ones for you. You want a couple crazy ones?
Let's hear them, man.
Do you know what don't look a gift horse in the mouth, what that means?
I know those words separately. I don't know what it means together.
So don't look a gift horse in the mouth means don't be critical of something that somebody gives to you for free as a gift. Because if somebody comes to your farm and gives you a horse for free, it's a gift. The very rude thing to do would be to open that horse's lips and look at its mouth, because that's how you tell how healthy a horse is.
Oh.
And so you're judging the gift that's being given to you.
Yeah. So it kind of like don't take things for granted type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then another weird Midwestern phrase is never trust a pig in a poke. You ever heard of that one?
Is poke like a dance? Sounds like a dance off somehow. No.
A poke is like a bag. It's like it's like a potato sack.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes to you and is like, "I'll trade you this pig for those 3 pies," don't trust that there's a pig in that poke. It might just be 4 weird cats. You know what I'm saying?
That's not bad. I thought you were gonna say something like a bag of coal or something like that.
There you go. Or a bag of coal. Of coal. So
well,
yeah, a couple weird phrases for you. And I learned those working with people from 3M, actually, as consultants that I worked with from 3M, because they are these like old Midwestern dudes who know all these old weird farm phrases, because most of them come from like North Dakota and South Dakota farms and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got some new things I learned today. Oh man.
So Metazoo, let's talk some Metazoo.
Let us talk some Metazoo. Although we kind of sprinkled some Metazoo.
We did a little sprinkling.
We did a little sprinkling. I guess the one thing I really wanted to talk to you about is, I guess, just like the IP of Metazoo itself. So kind of like segueing into it. And Mike keeps saying that we're in the pre-IP stage, which I kind of understand. IP being the novel he's writing, or he wrote, I guess, and then the TV series, and then the video game, and then apparently there's going to be like a post IP phase as well. I'm guessing that's when next year, when Metazoo goes public and when all the different shows and different media avenues come out. I just I've been latching onto that a lot, to be honest. Like I've been waiting for it for such a long time, and I know it takes a long time to create something special. Like you don't want to half-ass the show, half-ass the video game and stuff like that. But like, what were your thoughts on, I guess, our pre-IP phase right now?
So first, I just want to say that I think the thing that it seems like Mike is the best at is like moving the company forward and like having a vision and like knowing what the public wants and what customers want as far as a product. And so I think the vision is pretty darn strong as far as where he's going. And I have a lot of confidence there as far as this idea he has of doing all these vertical IPs. I think it makes a lot of sense. And it looks like he's actually executing on them. It looks like,
for sure,
for the most part, everything he said he's going to do so far, he's been doing. And so like these things seem to be in development, and I'm excited too. I've read the books, I've read the chapters. It seems to be like a really strong story. It has a lot of strong hero's journey themes. For anybody out there who hasn't read the Metazoo story, it's based. I'm going to give you a little teaser here. I'm going to give you a little teaser reel.
Well, I'm the perfect audience then, because
I haven't read any of it.
I tried getting into it. I thought I was going to do like a YouTube segment of me reading the novel. So I never really do it. Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know if I have that voice. Maybe I should talk more like this. I don't know. Maybe I'll get more views too.
Okay. So you got these 3 special kids who kind of have like a little bit of Jedi-ish stuff going on in their lives. So they can kind of control things. Like a couple of them play Little League. Okay. And one of them can kind of predict where a ball is going to be hit before it's even hit. You know what I mean? And so they have these 3 kids, these 2 boys and this 1 girl, just have these innate things going on. And then all of a sudden one day, because they're all in Pleasant Point, West Virginia, which, by the way, everybody, is where Indrid Cold and Mothman were both cited in, I'm not going to remember the year. I'm sorry. It was either the 60s or the 70s, and I can't remember the year off the top of my head. That's where this story takes place, this fictional story. And about the same time that these three kids are growing up, like middle school age or whatever, Indrid Cold shows up in the town of Point Pleasant. And Indrid Cold, doesn't seem great. Big smile, Joker looking person, you know, these deals, you know, and like black suit, like Men in Black looking, like devious looking, right? Yeah. And kind of like just sneaking around Point Pleasant one day. And actually Mothman shows up like on the top of a building and starts watching him, right? Yeah. And starts checking it out. And he opens a veil. And when Indrid Cold opens this veil, cryptids come into the world and magic comes into the world, and then everything explodes from there. And it just that's where I'm going to leave y'all right there. And these three kids are affected greatly, as well as a lot of other people are in the world.
Dang. Yep. And it makes a lot of sense with the Cryptid Nation passport. It's starting at Mount Pleasant, so I guess it runs along with the story as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
they go to Union City, which is on the East Coast, and then they go back inland to Loveland, Ohio, to meet up with, guess who?
The wizard type.
The wizard himself. That's right. You get really strong when you meet Loveland Frogman. You get super strong Yoda vibes in the story. Very strong Yoda vibes. If you want to know what Loveland Frogman's like as far as the story goes, just imagine Yoda a little bit. You know,
powerful it is.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Thanks for giving that synopsis of it, because yeah, I really need to delve into it then.
It's really good. Well, I think that's important. And that's something, you know, I've honestly come out with a lot of videos lately where I do some railing and stuff like that. And one thing I've been railing on is I wish more people who just invested would like get into the story or like play. I'd love to see more players too, right? That's some of us players, we want to see more players right now. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I know I brought that up randomly right now, but I got to say that's one thing that I've really been craving lately. And I hope the IP and stuff coming out, or maybe the focus that Mike's doing on the LGSs. And I know that's something you want to talk about as well. I think that could be really, really positive for somebody like me, because I would love to see some more people show up at my LGS to play Metazoo with me, because I have a sweet fur-bearing trout deck and I want to beat people with it, honestly.
Maybe you should let them win a little bit too.
No, I lose all the time.
Oh, do you?
I'm horrible. I'm horrible.
Okay,
I beat Easton by chance when I had him on, because he had a horrible draw and a bad matchup and he had a mulligan. I just happened to beat Easton. I've never beat anybody else in my life.
I had to say, I actually took the metazoologist test like twice. And then like, I never played a game, and maybe that's why I didn't pass the exams, but it's like, and I'm really bad at multiple choice exams anyway. So, but yeah, it's like a really fun game, but it has so many different mechanics.
It does.
I think it's good, but at the same time, I can see why some people kind of a little bit hard to get into it. And then, and I know you have like a magic background, so
right.
And there's a lot of
that's what I was thinking when you were talking. I was trying not to interrupt, but yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I'm able to play it, is because the core conceits of the game, like the base mechanics, are basically Magic the Gathering. It's just got a bunch of twists on top of it.
Do you think without like LGS, like people playing in LGSs, do you think like a player base could kind of evolve somehow, just like through Tabletop Simulator or through like whatever the Metazoo, I guess, TCG game online would be?
Well, I think the TCG online game for sure could draw more players to the game. And I also am hoping, you know, now that Metazoo's announcing like the caster tournaments, there's like towers they're announcing.
Yes.
And things. Right.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
That in, you know, they throw a lot of money at the tournaments too. But I do think that they could benefit from a little more outreach to LGSs, because there's also a lot of LGSs in the United States who don't carry Metazoo. Now, I can't speak to Canada as much. I know I have one friend up in Ontario who says he's having a heck of a time convincing his store to carry it. And so that's one thing that I think is the biggest way to draw people in, is more outreach to the LGSs. But it does seem, I will say, it does seem that's what it seems like they're starting to do right now. So let's wait and see, because they're now sending out the store kits. I think they're literally showing up within a week, and it's going to have some prize support. I think in those things you stick up on the windows.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
The eye catchers. Yeah.
Yes. And so those should show up soon. And then there's these local tournaments that are going to be showing up soon. And so we'll see. I mean, that's what they need to do, and we'll see how they execute on it.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that's like, I can kind of see the direction that like Mike is taking Metazoo as well. Like, especially being in big box stores, like Barnes and Noble's coming next, like Target's having that, Smokey the Bear blister packs, and then Walmart's already out in the US and Canada. It's coming soon type of situation, right? So I can kind of see.
Aren't you getting like a maple leaf on your card or something?
I want to make a surprise. And then I take it, bam, maple leaf. Yeah. But we don't know what's gonna look like, right? Like maybe it's just on the box. Maybe they'll just be like a little maple leaf symbol.
Sure.
I can't imagine Metazoo putting a maple leaf on the card itself.
What about in the foiling?
Oh, man.
What if, okay, in Wilderness, we've only seen 3 images in the foiling. Now, for those of you who may not pay too much close attention to Metazoo cards, in the first set, the foiling basically had little stars. The second set, Nightfall, there was spider webs were easy to find. And then there were skulls and ghosts were kind of your uncommons. And then the hard hollow to find in the background was a bat. Okay.
Oh,
now,
all right.
Now in Wilderness, I've only found 3, and I wonder, did they downscale, or is there a rare 4th one? Because I've only found the swirly wind, the leaf, and the
tree, the spruce tree.
The tree.
Yeah.
What if the 4th rare one is the maple leaf?
Oh, that would tie really well, actually.
That'd be sweet. You can only get it on the Smokey the Bear card or something weird like that, you know?
If it's not too late, Metazoo, I think this is something that you need to get on. Not just saying that because I'm Canadian and I will be able to get it.
Only released in Canada. It'll be like an ambassador item. That'd be tight.
Oh, man. Yeah. And the ambassador item, I know it's not like on the itinerary or anything. Like, I saw that the ambassador items have been sent out now. So it's like for the distributors to give to each country on how they think should be distributed.
Okay.
Like, did you hear some news about that? I heard that.
I'm not all I know about the ambassador cards is that I want them, and that I'm glad that Metazoo is moving into different countries. Other than that, I literally don't know anything else about them.
Fair enough. Maybe when it hits my local LGS, I'll be like, hey Jeff, do you want a special promo card?
I can definitely say that I have a friend in Ontario who's playing, and he has been saying to me like, when are we getting more attention? So I'm sure he'll be excited as well, you know.
I need to know who your friend is later because I also live in Ontario. So
nice. That's awesome.
It'll be nice to connect with some meta.
He's a very, very nice person. It seems like you're both very nice. You might be too nice for each other. Actually, it might get too like super nice.
I think that's just Canadians. Oh no, we'll just kind of apologize to each other for everything. That's just how it works. I don't know. Maybe it's the educational system here, but we just have to say sorry.
They're an enormous Star Trek fan. Is that okay with you?
I'm fine. I actually just rewatch all the Star Wars movies. Oh, Star Trek. Oh no, never mind. Ooh.
You hear that, Josh? You hear that? He's a Star Wars guy.
Ooh. Well, I did watch some Star Trek before, so.
Okay. So, I mean, different strokes for different folks, right? That's. Exactly. I mean, you're perfect at understanding that, right? We don't all have to like the same stuff.
And we can bond with Metazoo, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
we got the glue.
he plays Metazoo as well. I'm actually sending him some mats that Pokezoo sent in that to donate out to people. And one thing that him and his wife are struggling with is they play on the mats that they give you in the spell book, which is all foldy and your cards move around, or in the it's called the spell book, right? The mat you get that you can unfold yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so sure. I'm excited to send them some of those. What are they, foam mats or whatever?
Yeah. They have those. Yeah, you have to have those, right?
Mm-hmm. So, sure. What made you start to do videos in the first place? And by the way, the lighting doesn't look at all different right now. This cut, we didn't just do a cut. Everybody, this is totally normal. This is totally normal. Even though the lighting is so different, we didn't just do a weird cut where I went to the bathroom and stuff like that. Everything is the same. I didn't go just get a drink of water. Yep. But I was just wondering, what made you start doing videos?
I guess I always had a passion to try to do something kind of just like do videos on YouTube. They just like even when YouTube first started, to be honest. But I never really had that courage to do it. Like maybe because like I was pretty young back then. But then I never really found anything passionate that I really wanted to talk about enough, to be honest. So I think it's also really cliche, but I think like Metazoo gave me that actual push to actually go into the YouTubing and stuff like that. It's yeah, it's been a great journey. I get to meet really cool people like yourself, and you just talk about a hobby. Like to be honest, I never really had a hobby before like TCGs and stuff like that. Like I played TCGs when I was a kid, but I never had a hobby again in between, I guess, my childhood.
You play video games, don't you? Of course you do.
I do play video games, but I don't take it as a hobby though. That's the thing.
Okay.
Like it's like something that just passes my time. Like I skip so many games all the time, right? Like especially with the app games now. I play it for like 4 months and then I switch to the next one. So
Can you tell me your favorite games?
Before Blizzard is what it is today, I'm like a PC master race gamer type of guy. So I really liked all the Blizzard games, like Warcraft, Diablo, like even going into Overwatch and stuff like that. So I didn't play RuneScape though. I have to say.
Isn't Overwatch 2 about to come out?
It is Overwatch 2. I don't know too much about it. It's going to be free to play, but I don't know if I want to support Blizzard too much anymore with all the hubbub that's going on. So,
well, my goodness, I think, okay, so I don't know if you knew this, but I do a show about EverQuest, which is the MMORPG that came out in 1999 that kind of predated World of Warcraft, that everything was kind of built on.
Yes.
And yeah, my friend and I started in 1999 and did a podcast about it recently, kind of revisiting the game. But apparently that guy who got into all the trouble with Blizzard came from EverQuest. It was somebody who got super frustrated with the game and said, I'm going to tear down your game and I'm going to go support World of Warcraft. Didn't only go support World of Warcraft, became like one of the head developers, and then all this stuff happened. Yeah.
Blessing or a curse? Maybe a bit of both. Brought where Blizzard is today, but at the same time, brought where Blizzard is today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I did not know that. Yeah, I used to play some other MMORPGs as well, but that's in the past now. All I do is Metazoo and TCG and my mini eBay store, I guess. Yeah, but you have to have a little bit of that knowledge as well, right? To just on both sides, you collect it, but what are you gonna do when you're trying to liquidate it? So you have to have some exposure to that for sure. Sure.
I haven't figured that out too much. Mostly we've just collected, but we haven't ever gone to, and when I say we, I mean my son and I collect. We've collected Magic the Gathering for quite a while now. And now I collect Metazoo and he's still collecting Magic the Gathering. And we've never really thought about how we're going to sell it. Because one of the tough things about selling these collections, if you take them to a store, they're going to give you half the value. It's basically 100%. How that works.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, you have to find a way to liquidate it on your own, which is one reason why, even though we've bought a bunch of product, we don't own a lot of sealed, because I don't even know how I would start to get rid of this stuff, you know. And you're right, you do have to get an eBay store going. And that's one of the things that, you know, Rudy doesn't talk about enough. It's how to have an actual successful eBay store. He tells you what to buy and what to invest in, but he doesn't necessarily tell you how to move it very well.
I have to tell you a secret. Like, although I'm a big eBay seller, but it's better to sell on other platforms, to be honest, because the eBay fees are really crazy. It's like if you can find like a good person to sell on, like sell to on like Facebook Marketplace or like Canada's Kijiji, but I think it's called Craigslist in the US.
Yeah.
And so there's other places like there that you can sell without getting cut 16%. Pretty much of your like final sale fees and all that stuff.
And here's the thing I've always worried about that I don't completely understand is getting scammed on eBay. Sending something to somebody and have them be like, you didn't send it. And I'll be like, yeah, I did.
I've experienced getting scammed. So it's it can go both ways, right? But as a seller, I just have to say that you have to do tracking. So ship with tracking, and then eBay kind of reimburses you, even if everything like all the shit hits the fan type of
stuff. Okay. So just tracking is all that really matters.
Yeah. Okay. And then so even if they do a chargeback on their credit card, so eBay can't stop that, right? But eBay will see that you the package was delivered with the track shipping, and then they reimburse you through eBay's own funds. So seller protection. Yeah. And then for the buyer, it's a similar situation where there's multiple options you can choose for saying that like you didn't get the package, or the package wasn't it what you expected and stuff like that, right? So select the one that says item not as described, and then you win 99 out of 99 times.
Really?
Yeah. So and then if that doesn't work, you can always do a chargeback. A lot of scammers kind of do that as well. Oh man. But then like if you're a legitimate buyer, so don't do this, guys, for scamming purposes. Do it if you actually meet with like a scam seller and you really need to get your items.
Well, and isn't one of the ways they guard against this by the whole rating system? So if I have a bunch of positive stars, that means I haven't been scamming people, or is that not the case?
There's like as with everything, it's not as cut and dry with this rating system as well. So as a seller, you should not give a positive rating to a buyer right away after they pay for it. You should wait until they either give you a positive feedback back, or they message you saying they got the items and or purchase from you again type of situation.
Interesting.
Because if you give a positive feedback to them before, and then they put like a case against you, you can't actually retract back your negative feedback. Oh, positive feedback and change it to negative. Yeah. And then eBay will kind of use that against you as well, saying, oh, you gave a positive feedback, so blah 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 type of thing. And then for the buyer, similar, give the feedback after you get the item. Don't say he's an amazing seller or she's an amazing seller right away. The situation. So be a bit wary, protect yourself, right? Type of thing. Yeah. So that's a little crash course in eBay and how
Leo's Corner. Did that come from, by the way, is that from Penguinzio? I started watching this YouTuber called Penguinzio a little bit. Is that any type of relation?
Does he look like me? Then maybe. Well, now that you mentioned, no. It's it came from my high school nickname. I was called Pee-wees. Well, not Pee-wees, just Pee-wee, because my chemistry teacher thought I looked like Pee-wee Herman, and that was.
No, you don't. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I looked the same pretty much when I was in high school. And,
oh my goodness, that is so funny. I've painted Pee Wee Herman's face. Like I've studied his face. Yeah. Oh, that is so funny. I'm a big fan of Pee Wee. There's Pee Wee. Oh my gosh, it's Pee Wee Herman, everybody. Did you see that? He showed up for a second.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's where it came from. And then Pee Wee was taken. Pee-wee's was taken. So I had to be Pee-wee's. Oh. That's the story of the name. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go.
Yep. Exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive right here, everybody.
Yeah. I want to know what you think the anime series will be like. Do you think it'll be like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, or you think it'll be like Adult Swim type of thing, kind of like Rick and Morty? I think it's going to be like Rick and Morty, just because of the content of the cryptids and all that stuff, right? Like there's a lot of scary cryptids out there. So
okay, so I don't know a lot about Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. I was a Magic the Gathering head, and when I got into Magic, I was already like 20 years old. Okay. So by the time Pokemon came out, I was like 27. It just didn't hit me in the right spot, right?
For sure.
And
it's just a kid's cartoon type of thing, I guess.
Right. And I never saw the cartoon, but I can't have avoided it this many years. So I obviously know what it looks like now.
Yes. Yeah.
After reading the story, I honestly think it's going to be super kid friendly, and I think it's going to be more like Pokemon.
Wow. Okay. I guess that's the difference between not knowing the story and knowing the story.
Yeah, it seems like it's a super kid friendly story to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
I don't think it's going to be too tongue in cheek. I think we may have some meta calls, like Metazoo. Yeah. I think they may break the fourth wall and be kind of tongue in cheek, but I don't think they're going to be edgy. I don't think edgy is going to be the right word.
Wow. You know what? That's actually really good to hear, because one of the things I really wanted Metazoo was so it can be kind of like kids can get into it and be part of their childhood, right? I do have some reservations, specifically from like the Cryptid Nation set. There's a few cards that's not as kid friendly. And then
let me tell you the ones that have been featured so far in the story, because these are the ones the kids are going to see first. Presumably when the story comes out, it's just going to be the book.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to see Mothman right away. But Mothman isn't like Mothman is like looming and kind of ominous, but we don't know what Mothman's all about.
It's like Batman. I always think that Mothman.
Kind of. Yeah. Then you're going to get Ding Bell, who's going to be a cutie. Ding Bell's going to be your little sidekick cutie. Like, oh, it's just Ding Bell.
You got like Elf on the Shelf,
Exactly.
Like
exactly. Yeah. Ding Bell is Sam's like sidekick. So that's going to be your cutie character.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have Frogman and you're gonna have Bigfoot, and that's when the action starts happening. And actually, a strange one that you wouldn't expect because it's not in the original CN1. You're going to see a Crosswick monster right away in that first scene, you know, and
Yeah.
that's the one that came out in the art series.
Oh, okay. Wow. So
Yeah.
no, that kind of blew my mind. So I'm actually really glad that it's going that direction because I really think it can go farther. Metazoo can go farther if it is more geared towards I guess PG-13 below type of situation.
Right. And I wouldn't expect, if they follow the storyline, I wouldn't expect like episode 1 for you to see like 10 different cryptids. No, it's more like it starts with these 3 kids.
Yeah.
And Indrid Cold, and there's actually a couple other humans that we don't have to get too much into right now. And Indrid Cold and Mothman. And it takes a while before you start meeting cryptids. And it's not like they start throwing them at you left and right. It's kind of like you meet them one at a time, right? One chapter at a time. So they ease you into it.
Okay, cool. Dang. And I'm guessing the video game is going to be similar then. I was thinking like Super Mario RPG. Have you played that for the Super Nintendo?
The RPG, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's kind of like turn-based type of thing, right?
No, I've never played that.
You haven't played it? Yeah. But well, it's kind of be like Final Fantasy. I guess that's the other.
Yes, I played. I don't know which Final Fantasy I've played though, and there's like 25 of them. But I've played one of them. I don't know which one.
So I'm hoping it's going to be something similar to that, or I guess it could just be like the open world RPGs that are out there nowadays, right? Kind of like there's the Zelda one, like the.
Well, is it going to be an RPG or is it going to be the game in? Do you know?
I've heard various accounts. I heard that it's going to be a RPG, but I also know they're also going to be releasing kind of like a TCG online version, kind of like Magic Arena or PTCGO type of thing. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you think the RPG is coming first?
I hope not, to be honest. I hope they get the player base going, to be honest.
I do too. I have people that I like who are like playing with each other in my Discord because they're in these like little towns scattered in the Midwest that just don't have a store near them. And I want these people to be able to like play on a legit platform. That would be amazing, because all the love in the world to the people who set up TCG or TTS. I know there's people who put in a lot of effort to get it going, but you know, I don't like watching TTS.
I've seen the tutorials before. Yeah, it's kind of No, that's awesome though. So okay, so there's a lot of hope for the Metazoo IP then, and Mike finished his first novel, right? So
yes,
where that goes to. Okay, cool. And then I guess that kind of goes to. So before we get into this section, I have to make a little bit of a disclaimer to everyone. Like I think I can speak maybe on your behalf as well, Jeff. It's not like criticism against the company too much, but like we're all kind of in it together. We want Metazoo to succeed for one reason or another. Doesn't matter if you're from an investor, if you like from payability, or if you like it from just the art style, to be honest. And I think Metazoo's kind of cutting themselves short, calling themselves like a small company, calling themselves like a startup still. It's been a year already, and they've been very successful through many different drops, and they've been collaborating with so many different people. I think they really have to like strengthen their foundation, not just hiring like a few new people just to try to meet up with demand. Like I think they had to do like some kind of infrastructure change in order to like, even for distribution, right? I know that they used to use like Channel Fireball, and then they're using Golden a little bit now, but there has been some hiccups with like promos maybe given out when you're not supposed to type of situations. and then and just like getting things out on time, which has been a lot better now. But I think like a team of 24 including artists, or is it like 30 now? I can't remember 100%, but like 2 months ago, I don't know, 20 something. I think just bolster it up, try to get more people, try to get like different departments going, like PR department. You got the like marketing department. Mike, you are the head of the company. You're like the literal head, but you don't have to be the eyes, ears, mouth, and nose as well. Like you are the mind behind Metazoo. You can get others to like delegate your tasks. Like you have the feet, that's your distribution, and that's your customer service. You have your arms, that's your partners, like LGS partners and different content creators. And then you have the body, which is like the community itself. So you don't have to take on all the tasks. I guess that's what I'm saying. I know that Mike comes from like a military background, like his family and all that stuff. So I think it's part of his personality. And also he's in what he was like some kind of astral mechanical engineer or something like that. Like,
I'm learning. You're teaching me things right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I went to his LinkedIn. It was in one of my previous videos. So I'm not stalking Mike, but it's on his LinkedIn that he worked on some kind of like something that got sent into space, like some kind of astronaut component or something like that. And it's like he's a smart guy, and he's like
that's how he got the connections to get a piece of asteroid to like put in the pin boxes and stuff like that. He knows people.
Oh, you know, I never thought of that. Okay, so he didn't
it's
just
all
go
about
to like
you know, baby.
Yeah. No, for sure. Oh man. And then he's also like worked on, I think, not Wall Street per se, but then he's like in finance type of investing type of things as well. So he has a lot of background. And I know you have to have that type of personality, to be honest. Like I have to wrap my wife in a little bit. Like Miss Piwizo is an accountant. Her personality is 100% different than mine.
That's
and
funny.
She can't understand me sometimes. And sometimes I don't think we can understand Mike or what Metazoo's doing sometimes because personalities kind of clashes sometimes like that. But I think that's a big thing that, yeah, I think that's a big thing. Kind of going on a little rant, but I think that could really help Metazoo. It's like, just get more help, get a bigger foundation. Pokemon started with Nintendo and Wizards of the Coast doing their TCGs. You got Yu-Gi-Oh, which has Konami behind it, which does a lot of different anime series. And then there's also, they have a lot of experience with card games as well. And one of my previous videos, I talked about if Metazoo should partner with someone as well. So there's the Hello Kitty guy. So hopefully that getting the work's done for like Japan and Asia for that. But like maybe also Sega is a good partner. I don't know. It's just, at least that's my 2 cents for it. Long 2 cents.
Well, I agree with basically everything you said there as far as filling out the base. I mean, I've had the love and hate of working for a lot of big companies and realizing that, you know, the head of the company kind of creates, it's like you're the captain of the ship, you're deciding where you're going, you're making very strategic decisions, and you just do not have the time to get into any of the weeds other than like maybe doing some good job of hiring and getting the right people in place. Or at least finding a good person who can do hiring, you know, for you or something, you know?
Yeah.
And so I absolutely agree that, you know, if the vision is the IP, which it obviously is, and is to become big, it's inevitable that you're going to, you know, hire more people to get into the logistics side or the PR side. I'd love to see more people get involved in the PR side. I'd love to see somebody who's had a track record of doing successful PR for another company, whether they're in TCGs or not. I don't care. To come in, somebody who has something under their belt. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be great. And I can't agree with you more with your statements there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I think like what I said in the beginning, like we're all trying to make Metazoo succeed. Mike the most because it's his baby type of situation, right? Aside from Rocky, but it's his baby. And then but yeah, it's like we're trying to just help the company grow as well. Like we didn't start a multi-million-dollar company,
right?
And that's
I'm glad you brought it back to that again, because one thing I'm learning the older I get is that I've run across all these people where I'm like, how can they think like that? And then I learn a little bit about their past, and they learn a little bit about my past. And the more I learn about other people, I learn that until you've walked in somebody's shoes, you can't really understand, you know, where they're coming from. You just can't. I think a lot of us do. And that goes back to what you were talking about earlier when we started this whole conversation about finding ways to get along. I think a lot of times we assume we know where somebody's coming from. And I like to come into the standpoint where I don't. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons I'm fascinated with Metazoo, is because Mike is also kind of a fascinating person.
Yes,
right.
100%.
And trying to understand his intentions sometimes is also what draws me like a moth to a flame of like, what's going on here? That, as well as the fact that I love playing my fur-bearing trout deck and losing every time I go.
Well, it's all about that one win, right? And then you're like, yes.
Beat Easton. Yeah. I don't know how it happened.
Oh, you already beat the champ. Like what else do you want, man?
My one win.
That's amazing, man.
But no, I can't imagine what Mike's going through, honestly, because like I think about how in this world, a lot of us lead lives that I'm not going to call them mundane, but they're like similar to other people's lives in some ways. And like, again, I'm a statistician who thinks about everything in bell curves.
Yes.
And I see Mike as this person who's on the outside of one of the edges of the bell curve right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, he's like riding this rocket, right? And you're saying like, we want him to be in the very front of the rocket, like driving it, and very interesting person going through a very interesting period of his life as this game just like gets so much attention right now,
100%. The community is very divided. I think there are some people that are very realistic with crypto and really do believe it, and some people are just in for the bandwagon, right? And I hope like the people that are coming into Metazoo, they are going to try to stay long term rather than just kind of like just coming in and coming out type of situation. I really hope it really is just like the pre-IP stage, and then when it starts, like TV show, video games, novel comes out, I think there's going to be more, I want to say, natural interest into Metazoo. But like what happened with Metazoo at conception type of situation.
I think that's super possible, but they have to be good. I think that's one thing we all have to keep in mind here is we know they're working on them, but they still have to be good, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. So,
especially the show and the video game, they have to be good.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's been plenty of crappy shows and video games that have come out over the years. So
that's so true. Like,
again, we'll see.
I really hope. And
the thing is, it has all these things going for it, though. That's the one thing that's drawn me to it. The cryptids are going for it. The art is amazing. And the fourth wall idea, I don't think enough people pay attention to how cool the fourth wall idea is. Because, there's so many reasons. You can go to your LGS on a Friday night and there can be like, fake rain falling from the ceiling and a mistletoe that's going to make your mistletoe card do better. Like, and they can like make every Friday night feel like a party and the meta changes every Friday night. Plus, imagine if this stuff ever does go to like, what do they call that? Augmented reality. Ooh, like you can fight somebody in your park with Metazoo, but since you're in a park, suburbs counts, daytime counts. You see what I'm saying? Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. That's where the humming's coming from.
No worries, man.
So the concept of fourth wall and terras affecting the game, I think, turned a lot of spikes away. A lot of people who are really into Magic the Gathering or Flesh and Blood who really just want to be the best at a game. I think they saw this game and were like, that's silly. You're telling me if it's raining, the game changes? That's silly. Well, what's raining? Is a drizzle a rain? Is it a misty rain?
Getting into the semantics, yeah.
Right, and that's immediately where a Flesh and Blood player, sorry, Flesh and Blood players, but that's immediately where they go. It's like, okay, it stopped raining. Is it still raining? And all this stuff. Yeah, and they don't know how to have fun.
and I like what Metazoo did for Caster's Cup. To be honest, like they actually had like a controlled environment, pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Like, these are certain things that are happening with the fourth wall effect. Like I was really curious, like how tournament play would go, and yeah, it went pretty well, I think.
Overall. Well, I don't think it. To be frank, everybody kept playing Quets. All right, let's just be honest.
Yeah,
even though all those things were happening, all the good players just kept playing the same decks. So I think it has a ways to go, honestly. But I think the conceit is amazing, and I think the visuals are amazing. The concept is great, but they either need a bigger player base to figure out the details. To be like, well, sure, these people showed up with Quets, but I took the time because I'm the 8,000th player who took the time to figure out which meta would be great in a swamp. And so I'm going to beat Easton because I figured that out. I don't think we have a big enough player base yet to explore all the nooks and crannies to have really perfected some of those specific decks for specific terras.
I really thought that the Loveland Frogman decks would have came on top, to be honest. There's like a lot of hype with that, right? Like I saw a few pre-Caster Cup tournament, well, I guess CAS games, and then most people were using like that Flood the Earth deck or something like that, and it's just they just Quets. It's Quets.
Yeah, it's all because I think Lightning Hornets, Radioactive Hornets, is an extremely good card. Out of all the Wilderness cards that came out, it turns out the Radioactive Hornets is probably one of the best ones. Which just made one of the decks that was already pretty good better. It kind of took the second or third best deck and put it back on top again. Plus, turns out Prismora is a little more impactful than we thought. When it first came out, I'm like, Prismora might let us play multiple colors. Well, it definitely does. There's definitely people who would play Prismora with the Shock Aura. which you can play in lightning, and they would be splashing a lot of different colors and a lot of different ways to take care of frog in those different colors.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then sorry, just tangent again, going back to fourth wall effect things.
Yeah.
The one card that actually really got me interested in Metazoo was Mountain Funeral Terra Shot. It's that one where it's like a coffin running down thing, and then
like a coffin dog or something.
Exactly. And then it's actually the fourth wall effect. And you say this is so ridiculous, but so ingenious at the same time, and so mean kind of. It's like if you've been to a funeral, you get this boost. I'm just like, wow, really?
We're gonna get somebody who does those what is that movie? Fight Club, where he would go to meetings even though he wasn't really supposed to go to them, like support meetings. We'll get people who don't get invited to the funeral, who just start showing up to get their Metazoo bonus.
Oh yeah, I went, but that goes to semantics again. Like, is it how far into the reception do you have to be at? Yeah,
I drove by.
Yeah,
I drove by. I had a moment of silence.
I Googled it. No. All right, let's not give anyone ideas,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It's just been like really awesome talking to you. You're such a great person to talk to, man. If you guys haven't followed Jeff, follow Purple Elf Productions. We know his backstory now, and you see the man in front of you.
I had a wonderful time with you as well. And like I kind of alluded to at the beginning, I actually really enjoy being around people who I consider like stable and people who are willing to keep a calm head. It seems like I actually surround myself with those types of people because I'm not that type of person. And so I think I like that type of balance in my life. And if you ever want to do this again and make this a semi-regular thing, I actually think I would enjoy chatting with you. I think my temperament is better when I'm around somebody like you.
Perfect. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, you asked me before, one of the reasons why I got into, I guess, creating videos as well. It's kind of like to talk to other content creators too.
Yeah,
like, I always watch them on YouTube. I'm like, if I can somehow just talk to them, that'd be really cool. And then
me too.
Yeah,
that's me too.
100%, right? Yeah.
Yeah. When we did Magic the Gathering shows, and I was able to interview a bunch of Magic the Gathering players and announcers, and I cherish those moments. I have cards signed by them, and I've had conversations with. I'll now watch people commentating Magic the Gathering tournaments, and I'll be like, I interviewed that person. It just feels great. I don't know. I love that feeling. Maybe it's us basement dwellers. I don't know if you feel that way. You're kind of an indoor person, but it's a way to connect with the world.
Okay, I was gonna be like, how do you know I was in the basement right now?
And I would suggest this to anybody who's out there who's thinking about creating content is we talked earlier about how you never know what shoes somebody else has walked into. I honestly think as a content creator, you have to lean into that. Don't be afraid to show who you are, because who you are is who nobody else is. You may think your perspective isn't important, but the truth is you're the only person who has it. And so if you lean into like experiences you've had, or your core personality, and really are willing to show that to people, and let that come out and let people know like who you are. That's the one thing that no other content creator can take from you, because nobody's walked in your shoes,
100%. So that's a really great way of putting it. I think everyone has their own unique perspective to bring in.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yep, 100%.
Well, it's great talking to you too, Pee-wee. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to talk again.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thanks for taking the time. And also with the technical difficulties a little bit, I guess. That was my fault, guys. It wasn't because Jeff went to the bathroom, although he may have. Well, and as always, leave a comment down below if you really like our content. If you want to see us do this again, chime in. We really like to reply back to anything you have to say. Please leave a like for the video. Please subscribe to my channel and also Jeff's channel. And as always, keep on casting, and I'll see you guys next time.